It's no doubt that VR is one of the most revolutionary things to come out of gaming. Finally, we can even step further away from our reality to a more favorable one. However, with VR gaming becoming more accessible over time, it's no doubt that it's lost its amaze factor. The release of the Quest 2 and PSVR being the opener for many people, and with Steam Link, you can connect your Quest 2 straight to your computer and have basically an endless library of VR games. And once you play enough, you start to lose that immersion you once had. Of course, there's plenty of gear and technological advancements that give these games plenty of more immersive factor. However, they aren't the most budget friendly. So, how can you truly get more immersion out of VR without breaking the bank? Well, today, with my buddy GRU, his name's GRU because his balaclava is similar to the GRU soldiers from MGS3, I will show you how to get more out of VR. Our main genre will be first-person shooters. Your clothes matter a little bit. This is what you'll be feeling throughout the whole experience, so it's your choice whether you want to feel the clothes or just be comfortable. Of course, the clothes of choice are dependent on the game, so since we're focusing on first-person shooters, we'll be using EMR camo for GRU. Most VR games have you reach for a side pocket for your magazines, usually on the left side of your hip. So it's important to at the very least have some kind of pouch or bag on your hip. If you want to go all out for this, you can get yourself a belt kit. GRU will be using a full Alice belt kit. Pistol mag pouches will be used for the hip. Surprisingly, most genres do not have an option to grab your ammo from the chest, so this is kind of a small one. However, you can easily get a Chicom chest rig for $10 if you really want to. The use of the chest rig will be explored deeper after the backpack section. I'm sure you have a backpack lying around. You should totally use that. It not only gives you a better immersive feel, but this can also be as a reason why you have to reach over your shoulder when playing any Half-Life VR game, as if you're not at the very least playing Half-Life Alyx once, then you are for sure missing out. And now you're all kitted out. You of course could get a virtual stock, but as of currently GRU does not have one, but let's not worry about that and get into the games. Compound by far is the best game for when it comes to the immersion reload wise. What I mean by this is the way you reload in Compound is you just press trigger on your left hand. This immediately spawns the magazine in. This allows you to reload in any way you want and makes full use of your entire kit. Shotgun shells and revolver speed loaders, use your hip pouch. Magazines, use the chest rig. Rockets, use the backpack. The reload mechanic in this game is surprisingly simple, but opens up so many doors for creativity. I will say that I do think the gun interactions could be better, as all you do is press a button on the controller to rack the slide of the gun. There is no interactive part of the weapon sadly you can press. I'm merely just putting this on for show. Pavlov and Light Brigade have the best immersion when it comes to the guns themselves. All the weapons are fully interactable and feel like the real deal. Of course, these guns make use of the pouch, so a chest rig is not needed for these. If I had to choose which one I think is better, I'd have to give it to Light Brigade. The weapons feel like they have genuine weight, as while Pavlov's weapons more feel like they're made out of paper. However, Pavlov definitely has a lot more choices on her weapons, while Light Brigade is a little bit more quality over quantity. Any Half-Life VR game is immersive within the story and the world. I'm sure I don't need to tell you how well made Half-Life 2 and Alyx are, but if you've yet to play either of these, it is a must. These games have you reload over your shoulder, so only the backpack is needed to get the experience, and the weapons, while not as good as Pavlov or Light Brigade, do feel good. Blood Trail frankly feels quite bad as a VR game, and its only immersion factor it excels in is the violence. The screams and damage done to people is so accurate that I don't think I can show any of it, but trust me, it's brutal. I think at some point this game will have a much better feel in the future as it's in early beta, but this is here for you if you really want to see some violence and frankly just straight up gore. Currently, that is all I have. I know that there are other games out there that are quite immersive with their weapons, such as HHH. However, to be completely honest, I'm not the biggest fan of how that game feels. At least in my opinion, it just feels like Pavlov's weapons but a little bit more strict. If there's any other games that I might have missed that would be a great addition, please let me know, and I might make a part 2 if there's enough to talk about. I've been R.M.G, and until then, the next media is currently generating.